Loot boxes. It's all everyone seems to be talking about after the release of Lord of the Rings Shadow of War and the Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta, but how and why has such a thing got so many people up in arms? My name's Liam, or the annoying kid on the playground that you can never seem to get away from, and today we'll be exploring loot boxes, what they are, what they're used for, its Western conception, Eastern contentment, and why it has such an adverse effect on the industry. The concept of a loot box has existed before the days of video games being the massive entertainment platform it is today. The most notable loot box that I can think of is that was wildly popular is the trading card game Pokemon, with its card packs, which has itself also now evolved into a digital platform. A loot box, however, in most games, is the idea of a virtualized lockbox, often requiring a key or currency to open. This key or currency can be acquired in games through achieving actions or through in-app purchases via a storefront within the game known as microtransactions. Once opened, the box will present a player with a singular or set of random items for them to use, which may be functional, usable items within the game or simply cosmetic. Often the game has a value scale of randomly generated numbers, or RNG as the cool kids put it, to determine how rare a particular dropped item is. Generally, the rarer the item, the less likely a player is going to get it, which in turn creates a certain value and even desirability for the item within the game. If Wikipedia is to be believed, there's a sentence that would automatically make all my teachers disregard my argument, but according to Wikipedia, the first recorded use of a widespread loot box system came from the free-to-play Chinese MMO game Zhangtu, or ZT Online, which was released back in 2007. However, this mainly only affected players in China, seeing as it was only a Chinese game, albeit a massive one with over 2 million concurrent players in 2008. However, the first major title to include a loot box system was none other than Valve's Team Fortress 2, with its September 30th of 2010 patch, aptly named the Main Economy Update. The update brought 65 new items to the game, including community contributed content, as well as the Manco supply crate and key. These crates were dropped randomly to players, but required the key to open, which could either be traded for through other players or bought for $2.49 US on the Steam store. TF2 seemingly laid the groundwork for Valve's loot box system, which has continued into their other games such as CSGO, Dota 2, and hopefully not Half-Life 3 when it's released in 2050. Furthermore, the loot box system is essentially the entire economy within the mobile free-to-play realm, not that many of us like touching that, and please, stop asking me for more lies on Facebook games. The reason why everyone is so up in arms about the current implementation of loot boxes, especially in AAA games, is due to the fact that they're mostly being designed purely for the fact of monetization, often through a means of unregulated gambling, as well as in some games, blocking progression until the player gets lucky. The latter of which is particularly true in that of the recent Star Wars beta, where the whole star card / ability setup hinges on RNG loot boxes. Upgraded versions of which often offer huge advantages to players who've gotten lucky with RNGs, even up to points of giving 40% extra armor on something like a bomber. This is due to players often getting lucky or simply spending more money to unlock more crates. Not only is it bad to lock progression behind RNG, it also engraves the idea of gambling being commonplace within video games. The reason why I make this statement is due to who these games are exposed to. Although the average age of a gamer is 35, that is not to say that these games are not being played by those under the age of 18, especially when Star Wars Battlefront 2, CSGO, and Shadow of War are classified as M and MA15+ respectively in Australia. That's still legally allowed for people who are 3 years under the legal gambling age to effectively participate in gambling, and that's only if people are sticking to the respective age appropriate games. Even worse is psychological links to those in loot boxes and gambling addiction. An article in 10 out of 10 IGN by Nathan Lawrence, which is linked in the description below if you'd like to read yourself, covers the idea of how our brains make sense of unexpected things, thus giving us a rush. With practically the whole gaming community up in arms over loot boxes, it begs the question of what's really being done about them. Well, as I mentioned in the opening of this video, there are some Eastern countries who are combating the loot box system. Both China and South Korea require online game publishers to provide statistics on the probabilities of items to be dropped. Although simple in nature, when people see that items such as CSGO's Bayonet Fade only being a 0.1% chance to drop, and some crap blue skin making up 75% of the drop rate, it could deter a lot of players. Furthermore, in the past few months, there have also been pushes in the UK. The British Gambling Commission is recognising that these virtual items can also obtain a real-world value, which will require the publisher to own appropriate licenses. However, there is still a long way to go until I guess we no longer have to deal with this bullshit. But hey, if you're in the UK, at least you have the petition you can sign for gambling laws to include games, which if it reaches 100,000 signatures, must be discussed within the UK's legal system. Link down below. Well, that's the end of the video. What are your opinions on loot boxes in games? Leave your opinion in the comments down below. My name is Liam, though my friends call me that kid whose face looks like an AK-47 spray pattern, and I hope you enjoyed this shitly made video.